Welcome back in. This is the Monday edition of the 2-minute drill. It's Purdue week, Nebraska coming off a bye week. Sipple, I'm Parker, Lincoln Journal-Star, HuskerExtra.com. Sipple, you watching football on Saturday from the couch? Rare opportunity.
Yeah, I watched a lot. I probably watched 8 hours worth of football. A lot of Big Ten, some other. Mostly Big Ten now that you mentioned.
So it was a weird week in the West. It's been a weird year in the West. You had Wisconsin going on the road and beating Purdue 30-13. Had Illinois winning in 9 overtimes against Penn State. Sort of got a close-up look at what that new rule about overtimes and two-point conversion plays. Starting in the third overtime, all that. What were where'd your mind, because you were watching the West this weekend. You saw Wisconsin, Illinois, you saw Purdue, saw a little bit of Minnesota play against Maryland. What did you make of the West?
Yeah, this actually goes to last week too. When I watched Purdue and Iowa last week too. The West is wide open.
Yeah.
Not completely wide open, but I mean, you look at Iowa, they're the favorite probably. Minnesota's right there. Wisconsin still controls its own destiny. Purdue sort of, but Purdue's schedule gets really tough.
Yeah. The loss against Wisconsin dinged their chances, I think, considerably in the West.
Yeah, it all adds up to this. Nebraska's had these little missed opportunities, and it sort of added up to a big loss, a big lost opportunity, which is the West is kind of there. There's no dominant team in the West. Iowa looked like that for a little bit, but Purdue took care of that in a big way. I mean, Purdue beating Iowa 24-7 and holding Iowa to 76 rushing yards. I mean, come on. And then now a lot of people would say Iowa's going to have its hands full at Wisconsin this week.
Right.
So Nebraska's right in the kind of the midst of all these teams that are goodish.
Yeah.
But Nebraska did not take care of business.
It didn't, and now they've got 4 losses in the conference already, and they can't win the West. I mean,
no, they can't.
They're in last place, and so it's interesting because if I would have told you that 8 games in, 5 games into the league schedule, knowing what you knew before the season about Nebraska, if I would have told you that they'd have statistically, arguably the best offense in the West, you would have said, well, shoot, with what they've got on defense and fourth year and all that, they're going to be in great position. I think it just speaks to how disappointing it is from the Nebraska players and coaches' perspective. I'm sure from a fan perspective too. It just isn't. It's a big missed opportunity to be not only in the hunt but right in the mix to win a division title.
Yeah, their offensive stats aren't bad. Now the red zone's the red zone. We harp on it.
Yeah.
Frost actually kind of made it sound like it's not that hard. I mean, you got to run your base stuff well, he said.
Right.
And now that's way easier said than done.
Right.
But it does. Everybody knows their field shrinks up, their playbook shrinks up.
Everything happens faster.
Yeah, and he made sure to add. You're looking at really good defenses, almost across the league here. Not entirely, but this is a good defensive league this year in particular.
One of the things that's going to happen over Nebraska's Final Four. Nebraska has a lot to play for still. They got to win 3 out of 4 to get to a bowl game, and it's going to be very interesting because they've got 3 teams left on their schedule that are really in the mix for a division title in Ohio State, Iowa, and Wisconsin. And Nebraska's got a chance to prove that not only can they make a bowl game and do all that, but they can put a dent in any of those teams' chances too.
Yeah, any of those except Ohio State. One of the big takeaways for me was Ohio State.
Yeah.
Now Ohio State looks like the machine that they usually look like.
Yeah.
They like that ranking that has Oklahoma 4 and Ohio State 5th is basically a sham. I mean, I don't know if those guys that are handling the votes just aren't watching. I mean, Ohio State does have a loss to Oregon.
And that's what
we're talking about.
That's what the defense would be.
But man, I mean, if you watch those teams. Now I watched Oklahoma, Kansas almost in its entirety and the first 3 quarters of Ohio State, Indiana, and there's nobody that watches football that would come away with anything but Ohio State's at least 2 touchdowns better than Oklahoma. At least 2 touchdowns. I think if they played on a neutral field, it might be a blowout win for Ohio State. Ohio State's clicking. That's what one of the big takeaways is. That they got it going now, and it's not just offense. They're good up front on defense. They're going to be a bear. They're for anybody right now.
And by the way,
now they're going to lose this week.
And they've scored 52 or more in 4 straight games.
Yeah, they are not going to lose. they will whack Iowa in the Big Ten title game if that's what it comes down to. My God, if it's Minnesota. Well, Minnesota played them fairly tough, so maybe you never know.
You never know in the Big Ten. That's it for the 2-minute drill today. We'll be back with much more tomorrow. You can find all kinds of written content, video, all the rest. JournalStar.com/Huskers, HuskerExtra.com. Thanks for watching.